I definitely think fighting has opened the path to redemption for me.
At one point in his life, Dustin Poirier was a loose cannon who regularly knocked out bigger kids in the mean streets of Louisiana.
Juvenile detentions and programs and all this stuff that's supposed to help you, and I mean, that didn't help, you know.
But then he found mixed martial arts.
He's finally found what he's been looking for all of this time. I know that he has been waiting his whole life to climb up something and put his hands in the air, because he did it the best.
Fast forward 20 years, Poirier is one of the greatest fighters of all time, who owns more than a dozen knockouts, bonuses, and wins against numerous champions.
Dustin Poirier is one of the best in the world,
but has the work ethic of a monster.
But despite all his glowing achievements, he's never won an undisputed UFC title. The question is, does it matter anymore? From the mean streets of Lafayette to the highest of highs in the sport, let's recap the shining career of the man they call the Diamond. Early life and background. Dustin Poirier grew up in the rough streets of Lafayette, Louisiana, where his early childhood was marked by frequent fights that ultimately got him kicked out of school.
Started going to high school at a pretty, rough high school. Ended up getting kicked out of school.
From then on, Poirier and Trouble became best friends.
Started running with the wrong guys, hanging around with the wrong people, doing the wrong things, had no business doing, shouldn't have been doing.
Even juvenile detention and boot camps couldn't do much to mend his ways.
I was just running around aimlessly pretty much. And, that got me into juvenile detention and court-ordered programs, boot camps. Got arrested for truancy and, they put me on probation and then all kind of stuff just kind of went from there.
At 17 years old, Poirier discovered his true calling after leaving home in an attempt to stay out of trouble. Shortly after leaving, he decided to take up boxing, a decision that would change his life forever. At the local boxing gym, he befriended some MMA fighters who sparred there, and intrigued by their discipline, Poirier reached out to their coach and quickly committed to the world of MMA. Balancing his time between intense training sessions and a full-time job delivering construction equipment, Poirier trained daily for almost a year before stepping into the cage for his first amateur fight. A few months later, he made his professional debut, where he unleashed hell in the form of lefts and rights to earn a knockout victory. After a stunning start to his career, Poirier continued to take out one dude after another. His next victim was Joe Torres. Ronnie Liss. Derek Krantz. And Derek Gautier.
What's up, my baby? What's up, my baby?
Poirier's early success in the professional circuit caught the attention of bigger promotions, and in no time, he signed with the World Extreme Cage Fighting. The promotion offered him his first major professional contract, and Poirier eagerly accepted, facing Danny Castillo in his promotional debut. Although both fighters showcased their impressive skills, Castillo ultimately secured a unanimous decision victory. Though it was Poirier's first professional defeat, it only fueled his determination further, and he returned to training with renewed vigor and quickly lined up another fight. Poirier was set to fight Zachary Mickelwright at WEC 52 on November 11, 2010, where he proved that he belonged among the best prospects in the world. The Diamond started the fight strong, using forward pressure and pinpoint striking to earn a TKO victory in the first round.
Dustin wasn't lying.
The win reaffirmed his place in the promotion and showcased his potential. But before Poirier could build on this momentum in the promotion, the WEC merged with the UFC in late 2010.
Is WEC merging with the UFC?
Yes.
And by early 2011, all WEC fighters, including Poirier, were integrated into the UFC roster, meaning that the young dude from Louisiana now had an opportunity of a lifetime. Things went from good to great for Poirier when he stepped in for Jose Aldo to fight #1 featherweight contender Josh Grisby at UFC 125. Though a massive underdog, Poirier saw his chance and he pounced on it with all he had to offer. Scheduled as the co-main event of UFC 125, the fight turned out to be a revelation. Poirier dominated Grisby, displaying exceptional skill in all aspects of the fight, especially in striking. His performance was a shock to spectators who had expected Grisby to easily dispatch the newcomer. Poirier's precise uppercuts and overall dominance proved he could hang with the best the UFC had to offer, and at a young age, Dustin Poirier was beginning to be recognized for his serious skill set. Many began to agree that his striking abilities were to be feared by all who set foot in the octagon with him. Poirier's years of boxing training were finally paying off, with some already arguing he was one of the best boxers in the UFC. His typical brawling style ensured that no matter who he fought, it would either end badly for his opponent or be an absolute brawl in the center of the cage. Following his victory over Josh Grisby, Poirier went on a 3-fight winning streak, defeating Jason Young and Pablo Garza before finishing a young Max Holloway via a triangle armbar in the first round at UFC 143.
You know, he's tough. I didn't think he was going to tap. I felt his arm I didn't feel it pop, but I felt it kind of give and started hyperextending. I didn't know what was going on with that, but I'm happy it happened.
He was oozing with confidence thanks to his winning streak, and he wasted little time in calling out the Korean Zombie.
I still want that, but I want Korean Zombie.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Nice.
I want to go zombie hunting.
In life, there are moments when you should be careful what you wish for. Poirier's call-out boomeranged when he faced the Korean Zombie in May 2012, resulting in his first UFC defeat while headlining the event. The fight was an absolute war between the two, with Poirier having the better of the exchanges early, but his waning cardio in the championship rounds cost him the fight.
It's what I wanted. I wanted a great fight, and I'm going to learn a lot from it, but I'm supposed to win. And it's a fight I know I can win. You know, it's the first time I've ever went to the 4th round. It's the first time I've been bloodied up, and you know, I took some good shots. You know, I'm still young, and that's the kind of stuff I was talking about. I'm growing every day on the job. You know, he's a great fighter. He's a warrior. I'd love to fight him again one day.
Though a bitter pill to swallow, the defeat didn't faze the rising star. Poirier was adamant about continuing his climb up the UFC's rankings, and over the next 2 years he did exactly that by amassing a record of 4 wins and 1 loss, earning 2 highlight reel finishes in the process. That earned him the biggest fight of his career thus far, a night in the octagon with the rising Irish superstar Conor McGregor.
I've never disliked somebody that much that I've ever fought.
The Irishman was brutal on the mic as usual, and he didn't miss an opportunity to ridicule Poirier.
Dustin thinks it's all talk. Dustin thinks it's all talk, but when he wakes up with his nose plastered on the other side of his face, he's gonna know it's not all talk.
It's fun. It's the first time I've ever fought somebody talking like this.
So it makes it a little exciting for me, but it's also aggravating because I have to keep hearing it over and over and over again.
Given the heated rivalry between the two, fans anticipated a fight full of elite-level striking, considering both competitors love to keep the fight on the feet. However, McGregor was just too precise and sharp for Poirier, and he claimed a TKO victory in the first round. Following his defeat, Poirier decided to move up a weight class to the lightweight division. He later revealed that the reason behind this decision was his struggle with weight cuts and his desire to continue fighting as much as possible. As the years went on, Poirier fine-tuned every aspect of his game, ultimately becoming one of the greatest strikers to ever grace the octagon, and his improvements were evident in his first 5 lightweight matchups, where he earned 3 knockouts with a sole knockout loss at the hands of Michael Johnson. Poirier bounced back from this defeat by earning a majority decision victory over Jim Miller at UFC 208. Following this, he was matched up with Eddie Alvarez, one of the best UFC lightweights of his generation. The pair met at UFC 211 on May 13, 2017. Unfortunately, the fight was cut short following an illegal knee by Alvarez. However, Poirier's resolve remained unshaken. He went on one of the best streaks of his life, finishing 3 top fighters by TKO. He first took out Anthony Pettis, and then went to war with Justin Gaethje. The battle between the two heavy hitters was a treat for MMA fans, as Gaethje launched his nuclear and ballistic missiles, whereas Poirier dealt in combinations. Gaethje's leg kicks in particular did a ton of damage, but unfortunately, his recklessness cost him dearly when it was stopped early in the 4th round. Next up, Poirier rematched Eddie Alvarez, who talked a bit too much before the fight.
The first fight I fought with Dustin, I was coming off one of the worst performances of my career.
But couldn't back it up, as Poirier brutalized him with meaty combinations to earn a 2nd round stoppage. The win earned Poirier an interim title fight and a rematch with Max Holloway at UFC 236 in April 2019. Poirier won the back-and-forth fight via unanimous decision, becoming the UFC's interim lightweight champion and breaking Holloway's 13-fight unbeaten streak, and earning his shot at Khabib Nurmagomedov's undisputed lightweight title.
I think this represents my next fight has to be for a unification fight.
Poirier's next fight was to unify his interim championship against Khabib Nurmagomedov at UFC 242. Where despite putting up a valiant effort and nearly submitting Khabib with a tight guillotine in the third round, Poirier was eventually defeated via rear naked choke. Following this setback, Poirier returned to the drawing board and fought Dan Hooker in June 2020 in the fight of the year. It was back and forth from start to finish, with both men landing lethal and gruesome combinations on each other. Poirier was game, but so was Hooker. But since the Louisiana native did more damage, he was declared the winner and the frontrunner to battle Charles Oliveira for the vacant UFC lightweight title. But who cares about gold and glitter when there's a red panty night on offer? Following a battle of will and skill against Dan Hooker, Poirier welcomed Conor McGregor back to the octagon at UFC 257 in January 2011, where the Irishman was too nice to be true.
I know Dustin's a hell of a competitor. I know there's questions here. He's heavier. He's up on a different weight, but he's more experienced. I feel I can do it.
All that niceness, however, badly backfired. Poirier first destroyed McGregor's lead leg with low kicks before finishing him by a technical knockout in the second round, becoming the first fighter to defeat McGregor by knockout in a professional MMA fight. McGregor showed warrior spirit in the immediate aftermath of their fight.
I'm honored to share the octagon, brother, and we will do it again, alright? Good man. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Enjoy everything. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
But then, things went south.
I don't give a fuck about him, to be honest. It's just how I am. He's a corpse, a dead body, a blank face.
A couple of months after UFC 257, tensions flared between the two rivals turned friends turned rivals over an unfulfilled donation promise.
Pleasure, brother. My pleasure. Thank you.
You're going to help a lot of people with that.
Yes, and you.
Poirier accused McGregor of not following through on a $500,000 pledge to donate to his foundation. McGregor fired back, emphasizing that it was a donation and not a debt. Naturally, the pre-fight press conference was as explosive as McGregor's sharp tongue tried its best to slice through Poirier's defenses.
He knows the shots he ate, and he's going to eat a hell of a lot more of them, that's for sure.
Is this getting personal for you at this point?
Nah, straight business, man. This is, You're only a little bitch. Your wife is your husband. You're only a little bitch of a thing, a silly little hillbilly.
Mystic Mac was very specific in his prediction.
Out in a stretcher. He's going out in a stretcher in this fight.
And his prophecy came true, but with a cruel twist of fate. The two locked horns at UFC 264, where Poirier clipped McGregor a couple of times early, before upping the ante. McGregor had his moments too, but Poirier's pressure and volume forced him to take a bad step and break his tibia.
This is not over. If we have to take this outside with him, it's all outside. We don't give a
McGregor was down, but not out. Though he was stretchered out. After settling his rivalry with McGregor, Poirier had his second go at the lightweight title against Charles Oliveira at UFC 269 in December 2021, where despite a strong start, he was submitted in the third round via rear naked choke. After a year-long hiatus, Poirier faced his arch-rival Michael Chandler at UFC 281. The rivalry kick-started when Chandler entered the UFC guns blazing and got the push that Poirier thought he didn't deserve.
It was good. It was good hot sauce. The official hot sauce of the UFC, I hear.
When they finally got the chance to lock horns, the rivalry reached its boiling point. The bout was explosive, with Poirier demonstrating his superior technical striking and finishing Chandler via rear naked choke in the third round. Poirier's next fight came against Justin Gaethje for the BMF belt, which was vacated by Georges Masvidal following his retirement, and the blockbuster Clash of Titans took place at UFC 291. Since Poirier had won the first fight after a gruesome 3-round battle, securing a 4th-round TKO, he was the favorite heading into the fight, but Gaethje had come leaps and bounds as well, so naturally, It was fireworks. From the word go, Poirier attacked Gaethje with his relentless combinations, but Gaethje tagged him on counters, and in round 2 he pulled off one of the greatest head kick knockouts of all time to crush the diamond into a gazillion pieces. It was a work of art. A defeat like that is never good as far as placement in the rankings is concerned, and usually the top dogs have to battle the newcomers on the block to test their mettle. That is exactly what Poirier did when he accepted to fight the up-and-coming French mercenary Benoit Saint-Denis. The former Special Forces member was a favourite heading into the fight, but Poirier knew something the odds makers didn't. And when the time came to put his money where his mouth is, Poirier shined bright like a diamond. BDS came out guns blazing and even took Poirier down to unleash some ground and pound, but the veteran had way too many tricks up his sleeve to bow down to a Special Forces agent. After a back and forth round 1, Poirier cracked Saint-Denis with a nasty combo in round 2, and a few punches later it was good night Irene. Poirier immediately went back to the drawing board because the UFC came calling with a title shot against Islam Makhachev. It was out of the blue, but it was well deserved. Having already lost twice in title fights, Poirier was more than ready for the final roll of the dice, and he was oozing with confidence heading into the fight.
I mean, that's on him. I've done more in the sport of mixed martial arts than he has. I've been around a long time. I was doing this before it was cool, and I'm still here. I'm still here doing it at the highest level. I could beat anybody in the world, and I hope he's next.
Things even got a bit heated between the two men, who are otherwise pretty respectful. But that's part of the game, isn't it? Heading into the battle, Poirier was a massive underdog, but inside the cage, he was an absolute dog. Though Makhachev managed to secure a takedown in round 1 and dominate Poirier, it was a dogfight from the second round onwards, with both men exchanging heavy artillery. Poirier even cut Makhachev open with a brutal elbow and pushed him to his absolute limit. Unfortunately, an ankle pick in round 5 opened the door for a submission hold, and Makhachev made the most of it by finishing Poirier once and for all with a DRC choke. After the fight, Poirier announced his retirement. Sort of.
I beat a young guy last time out. I just competed with the #1 pound-for-pound guy and felt good doing it until the end. So I just got to see. I can still compete, but I don't want the sport to retire me and squeeze me out. I don't want to be one of those guys hanging on. I just honor and respect this too much, and we'll see. I don't know. But this could be my last fight.
But he didn't completely shut the door on his illustrious career. He's still tough enough to battle the meanest dudes on the planet. At least that's what most pros think.
Honestly, it's very good fight, but I don't like when you have the cut. Everything is pain now. Tomorrow I think it's gonna be more pain. But Dustin is a dog, He will bite, kick, punch. Happy to finish him. But this guy, one of the best, still one of the best in the world.
I don't want to see him go. I don't know that he should go. I think that what Dustin Poirier should do is take the big fights.
But of course, the legend wouldn't fight anyone the UFC puts in front of him. He'll cherry-pick the most lucrative fights, and he's deserved the right to do so. If you liked the video, please subscribe to our channel and turn on those notifications. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.